coming up in the next days and weeks. You'll no doubt hear plenty about and hopefully see the next installment of In My Own Words, featuring the one and only Matt Williams. His story compelling, his candor in telling it greatly appreciated. However, it took him 2 hours to get through an interview, so no doubt some of that will find its way to the cutting room floor. But not this, not here, not now, as we take you into his basement. As we enter here, every guy's got to have a dig me room, right?
Yeah, you know, I love my wife, but we fought about this room. I have a real problem putting this stuff up. Now, there's nothing wrong with me having a Willie Mays jersey signed to me. There's nothing wrong with that. But the dig me stuff, I don't do so good with. So the special things, World Series, bats and jersey and cleats and tickets and a picture of my granddad. That's cool. The dig me stuff, not so much though. It's cool stuff, like I've got Bob Gibson signed balls and a picture with Alice Cooper. Who gets that, right? Right. So that type of stuff's cool.
That's really cool.
That's my granddad, yeah. He played very short time with the Dodgers, got injured and couldn't play anymore, but...
Fields groomed.
Fields groomed. That is a couple of weeds there.
Just a couple.
But you know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
We still get to play, right?
I didn't bring this up, but so what did you say to Jay Bell there? Do you remember?
I didn't say much of anything. He came, as he got to about here, down the line, all I could hear him say is, we did it, we did it, we did it. And then at this point, I was expecting him to jump, and he never jumped. I'm getting ready like this to pick him up, and he hangs over the top of me, and then everybody jumps on him. So I'm the schmuck at the bottom of the pile, standing like this while everybody's jumping on top. I didn't get a chance to celebrate that initial.
Are you kidding me? You missed the first wave?
So if he was able to jump up, then it would have been all great. But I got stuck at the bottom of the street. I was stuck at the bottom of the pile. That's okay. I was there. It was cool. 95 All-Star game. You know, those types of things I'd love to have, because it's memories of all the guys I got to play with. I mean, I have a San Francisco Giant jersey with my name on it that Ozzie Smith signed. That's pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is this Eric Young?
Oh, it is.
And that's Eric Young there too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the man's confused.
There's not many guys that would have an All-Star jersey signed twice by Eric Young.
Yes, he was signing. He was excited to be there. And he decided to sign it twice.
Did you tell him
Thanks,
that?
Yeah. Thanks, EY. We appreciate that.
Who's in the upper left corner up there? Is that who I think it is?
Yes. Who is that?
Is that Ted Williams?
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, that was very cool. This is hardware. Yeah.
You're missing one of these.
It's it's currently at the ballpark. It sits in the WOW lobby there.
And by the way, there's a guy here in the batting order that was hitting ahead of you.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds. What was your relationship like with him?
Barry was one of my favorite teammates.
Really?
Yeah. When I lived in San Francisco during the season, he was a neighbor, if you will. Our sons are the same age. So I got a chance to see Barry outside of the game. In certain respects, I liken him to Randy. Can you imagine living that bubble? I mean, from the time you leave the womb, you are the next Willie Mays. Or if you're Randy Johnson, where do you hide? Right? You can't be incognito anywhere. You're 6'10" for crying out loud. So they get this edge, and they put up the wall, because they never get a chance to escape from anything. They don't get a chance to just go to a restaurant and have nobody recognize them. They are who they are. It comes with the territory, of course, but I got a chance to see him outside the game when our kids were playing in the street and hang out with Barry, and saw a completely different side. Certainly one of my favorite teammates. By far, the best player I've ever seen in my life. This is my pride and joy. There's a couple of reasons. One, like I told you, my mom and dad always told me that the glove comes every day. But beyond that, these awards are voted on by the opposing coaches and managers. So for all the guys, all the coaches and managers that you play against, to have them say you are the best, that is the ultimate compliment. And that is special. That makes you feel really good. Got my 250th homer. Got the World Series balls. There they are, right there. There they are. Sunday whites. Remember? You had to wear stirrups. Everybody had to wear stirrups, and you had to show the A. Loved it.
So a modest dignity.
It's fun. I mean, you know, you accumulate this stuff over the course of a career. It's pretty neat stuff.
Well, check your local listings for the air date of Matt Williams' In My Own Words. When we come back, it's time for our final at bat here on the 10th inning, inspired by Matt Williams, a professional athlete who more than overcame the end of his playing career. He prospered. Well, he is arguably the greatest of all time at his craft. A first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. The question, will we ever see him pitch again? And if not, what happens to his post-baseball playing career? And might he take a lesson from Matt Williams?
The sight of Mariano Rivera blowing out his knee, ending his season, potentially ending his career, and changing the paradigm of power of Major League Baseball as we know it, brought to mind the most simple and basic premise. We think we do, we wish we did, but we don't have control of anything on this planet, do we? Sports just mirrors this, magnifies it. We all want to go out on our own terms, at our pace, and with our carefully crafted script. So do professional athletes. Think about how rare that really is. We've already documented here in the past some of the heaviest hitters in our recent memories who hung around too long and limped to the finish line. If that. Sports is not mutually exclusive to this character trait. The television sitcom rule of thumb is to be like the old Mary Tyler Moore Show or recently Seinfeld. Go out on top. The Sopranos pulled it off. Breaking Bad will. Which brings us to Matt Williams, of all people. He is such an interesting contrast. He carefully and at times flagrantly manipulated a very trying time in the middle of his major league career, his prime. He forced the hand of the Cleveland Indians just off an extra inning loss in Game 7 of the World Series, instigated his departure in the name of the custody of his children. He wanted to be home with them, and if it cost him his career, he was ready, willing, and able to cash out. All he wound up doing was engineering a move to the then expansion Desert Southwest in the brand spanking new Arizona Diamondbacks, whoever and whatever they were. All he did was become one of the first leaders and faces of the franchise. We sat down with Matt recently for an upcoming In My Own Words special here on Fox Sports Arizona, and I'm not blowing smoke. It was one of the most fascinating sit-down interviews I've ever been a part of. This is the story of the transformation of a man so intense that he created his own personal space every night in the D-backs clubhouse, just with a stare. It's the story of a man who used to carry the weight of what felt like the world on his shoulders to now being one of the happiest professionals in sports. The evolution is so obvious that if you've been around these parts for a few years, you can literally see it. You can feel it. He opened his home, his heart, and his head to us, unlike hardly any before. But despite all that Matt was able to pull off during his Major League career, the Gold Gloves, the All-Star Games, the World Series triumphs, the long ball, and longevity, Williams couldn't craft the ending as he would have liked. Nobody can. Spring training injuries began to mount. The Diamondbacks had to look to the future and traded for it. And one night in San Diego, it was over. He knew it. His manager knew it. His teammates knew it. His bags were packed, and off he went into the night. The Marine climbed into his own car with his wife, and they simply drove back home to Phoenix. Sort of an inglorious ending to what at times was a glorious run in the big leagues. Imagine what that drive must have been like. Set for life, but on empty. Interstate 8 is always better heading west, isn't it? I thought of Matt Williams when I saw Mariano Rivera fall to the ground. I've always wondered what might have happened had Joe Torre not had the infield in that night in November of '01, and if it were Williams at the plate with the season hanging in the balance. We found out that night at his house that he wondered too. Any big leaguer would have. Most wouldn't admit it publicly. Matt did. He wanted the bat in his hand and the World Series on the line. He wanted to be that guy. His ending, though, has evolved into a new beginning. Mariano Rivera, arguably the greatest closer of them all, hobbled on crutches, the weight of the New York Yankees on his injured knee, said recently, "I'm not going out like this." He just might.